Welcome back to English Podcast for You, your cozy little corner on the internet to practice real, natural English while talking about real-life human stuff. I'm Leo.
And I'm Anna. Thank you so much for hanging out with us today, wherever you are in the world, whether you're walking the dog, cooking dinner, or taking a quick break at work.
Yeah, honestly, thank you. Every time you tune in, it genuinely makes this space feel so special. And remember, every single minute you spend listening to spoken English, your brain is doing heavy lifting behind the scenes.
Exactly. You might not feel completely fluent overnight, but you're absorbing rhythm, pronunciation, and how sentences flow naturally. So give yourself some credit today.
Absolutely. Now, speaking of work and breaks, Anna, why do you look like you haven't slept in 3 days? Did you stay up late watching cat videos again?
Worse, way worse. Last night around 11 p.m., I said to myself, Anna, go to sleep early. You have a big podcast recording tomorrow.
Sensible adult choice. And then?
And then at 1:30 a.m., I was staring at my ceiling rehearsing an answer to a job interview question for a job I am not even applying for.
Wait, what? Why on earth were you doing job interview practice at 1 in the morning?
I randomly remembered my very first real job interview 6 years ago. The interviewer looked at me, smiled politely, and said, "So, Anna, tell me about yourself." And Leo, my brain completely shut down. Total system failure.
Oh no, the dreaded tell me about yourself moment.
I literally sat there in complete silence for 5 seconds, panicked, and then mumbled something about my favorite color and where I went to primary school. It was horrifying.
Oh, bless you, Anna. But you know what? That is so incredibly common. In fact, that's exactly what we're diving into today. Confidence building and how to stop freezing when an interviewer hits you with that classic opening line.
Please tell me I'm not the only one who has panicked like that.
Oh, definitely not. Whether you're interviewing in your native language or in English, that question feels like a trap. It's so broad. Your brain goes, do they want my entire life story? Do they want to know my personal hobbies? Should I tell them about my dog?
Right, because when someone says, tell me about yourself in daily life, you talk about where you grew up or what music you like. But in an interview room, the stakes are high. Your hands get sweaty, your mouth gets dry, and suddenly your mind goes completely blank.
Exactly. And for English learners, there's an extra layer of fear, right? You're not just worrying about what to say, you're worrying about how to say it. You're thinking about grammar, vocabulary, and pronunciation all at once.
Yes, you get so caught up in trying to sound smart, and you lose your natural confidence completely.
But here's the secret we want to share with you today. The interviewer is not testing your entire life history. They just want a quick, confident snapshot of who you are professionally.
Okay, so how do we take that pressure off? How do we build that solid confidence before stepping into the room?
It starts with understanding what they are actually asking. When an interviewer says, "Tell me about yourself," what they really means is, "Tell me why your experience makes you a great fit for this specific role."
Ah, so it's not an invitation to give a 10-minute autobiography.
Exactly. You don't need to start with, "I was born on a rainy Tuesday in 1995.
Good to know. So what should we use instead?
You need what people in the professional world call an elevator pitch.
Ooh, look at you with the professional vocabulary. Elevator pitch. Hold on, let's explain what that means for our listeners.
Yes, an elevator pitch is a short, clear, and persuasive speech that you can deliver in the time it takes to ride an elevator, usually around 30 to 60 seconds.
Ah, so it's short, punchy, and gives the most important highlights.
Right, and a great formula to build confidence for your pitch is present, past, and future.
Present, past, future. That sounds clean and simple. How does that work in real life?
It starts with where you are right now, your current role, or your recent focus. Then mention a key achievement or experience from your background. Finally, connect it back to why you're excited about this specific job for your future.
Wow, when you break it down like that, it stops feeling like a giant scary test and feels more like a short story with 3 clear steps.
Exactly. And when you know your structure, your anxiety drops by half. You don't freeze because you know where you're starting and where you're ending.
Okay, Leo, but what about the actual words we use? Sometimes people feel humble, or maybe they feel uncomfortable talking about themselves. I know I used to feel really awkward boasting about my work.
I feel that too. Culturally, many of us are taught not to show off, but talking about your strengths in an interview isn't bragging. It's simply sharing your expertise.
Expertise. That means specialized knowledge or skill in a particular area, right?
Spot on. You want to show the interviewer that your skills will be a real asset to their team.
An asset. An asset is a useful or valuable quality, skill, or person. For example, her strong communication skills are a huge asset to our marketing department.
Beautiful sentence. The third word is expertise. Expertise is high-level knowledge or skill in a particular field. For instance, he was hired because of his expertise in software engineering.
Next up, we have milestone. A milestone is a significant point or event in your personal or professional development. A great sentence is, launching our first product was a major milestone for our business.
And our final target word today is background. Your background refers to your past experiences, education, and work history. You can simply say, my background is in customer service and event planning.
Notice how none of these words are overly complex, but using them correctly makes your English sound polished and thoughtful.
Exactly. Now, let me ask you a question, Anna. If you had to go back into that interview room today, how would you start your response?
I would take a deep breath, smile, and say, well, my background is in digital media creation, where my main focus has been helping team members communicate effectively. One major milestone in my career was leading a project that reached thousands of learners worldwide. My strongest asset is my adaptability, and my expertise lies in breaking down complex ideas into simple steps. I'm really excited about this role because I want to bring that same energy to your team.
Wow! Anna, that was incredible. How did that feel compared to your memory from 6 years ago?
Light and day. 6 years ago, I was terrified of making a grammar mistake. Today, I just focused on communicating my value clearly.
And that is the biggest lesson in confidence building. Confidence doesn't mean you never make a mistake or that you never feel nervous. Confidence means you trust yourself to keep going even if you feel nervous.
That is so true, Leo. Every time you step out of your comfort zone to speak English, whether in a real job interview, in a classroom, or even just talking out loud to yourself in the mirror, you're building that muscle.
So if you're listening to this right now and you've ever frozen up during a conversation or an interview, please don't be hard on yourself. It happens to literally everyone, even podcast hosts who stay up until 1:30 in the morning.
Especially podcast hosts. The key is just to learn a simple structure, like present, past, and future. Practice your elevator pitch a few times and let your real personality shine through.
Right. And remember, the person interviewing you is just another human being. They aren't looking for a perfect robot. They're looking for a helpful, genuine person they can work with every day.
Exactly. When you realize that, the whole experience feels less like an interrogation and more like a normal conversation between two adults.
Now, we'd love to hear from you. What is one skill or experience in your background that you consider your greatest asset? Think about it right now, or even say your sentence out loud in English while you're listening to us.
Yes, practice it right now in your head. My strongest asset is. It feels so good to say it out loud.
And if you're feeling brave, you can practice writing your short elevator pitch in your notes or share it with a friend who is also learning English.
That peer support makes such a massive difference. Learning a language together takes away so much of the isolation and fear.
Absolutely. When you share your goals and practice out loud, those words start to feel natural in your mouth. They stop being textbook vocabulary and start becoming your vocabulary.
I love that. They start becoming your vocabulary. That's really the heart of language learning, isn't it? It's about taking these tools and using them to share who you truly are.
It really is. So as you go through your week, keep reminding yourself that your background is unique, your achievements matter, and you have so much value to offer.
Amen to that. Don't let fear keep you quiet. You've got the structure, you've got the vocabulary, and most importantly, you've got the ability to learn and grow every single day.
And whenever you need a boost of confidence or just a friendly space to practice listening to real English, you know where to find us.
We'll always be right here in your earphones, ready to chat, share some laughs, and grow together.
You know, Anna, thinking back to all those awkward interview moments actually makes me appreciate how far we've both come with our communication.
Right? It's funny how the things that used to terrify us become the exact stories we share later to help someone else.
That's the beauty of experience. Every single awkward moment is just building up your background and giving you more expertise for the future.
So true. So next time life puts you in a position where you feel nervous or unsure, just remember present, past, future. Keep it simple, speak clearly, and trust yourself.
That's right. Just take a deep breath, ground yourself, and remember that every mistake is just a small step toward mastering the language.
Absolutely. The more you listen, the more comfortable these sentence patterns will feel when you actually need to speak them.
Exactly. So keep listening, keep practicing quietly, and keep building that confidence one choice at a time.
And remember, building confidence isn't about eliminating fear entirely. It's about taking fear along for the ride and speaking anyway.
Exactly. I mean, even after years of hosting podcasts and giving presentations, do I still get a little knot in my stomach before going on stage or speaking in front of new people?
Be honest, Leo.
Every single time. My palms still get slightly clammy and my heart does a quick little tap dance. But the difference now is that I don't interpret that feeling as, I'm going to fail. I just think, oh, my body's getting extra energy ready because this matters to me.
That is such a powerful mindset shift, reframing anxiety as excitement. Instead of thinking, I'm terrified, you tell yourself, my body is preparing me to perform.
Right, because physically, anxiety and excitement feel almost identical. Elevated heart rate, quick breath, that buzzing feeling in your stomach. Your mind gets to choose the label you put on it.
Ooh, I love that. So when you're sitting in the waiting area before a job interview and you feel your heart racing, you can literally whisper to yourself, I'm excited to share my background and my assets today.
Precisely. And let's talk about the practical side of that waiting room moment for a second, because that's usually where the panic peaks. What do you do in those 10 minutes right before they call your name?
Well, back in the day, I would obsessively read my CV over and over until the words lost all meaning. Or worse, I'd scroll on my phone and get completely distracted.
Which usually makes the heart rate go even higher. A much better trick, and something I do before every major recording or interview, is simple physical grounding.
Physical grounding. Tell me more.
Uncross your legs, place both feet flat on the floor, relax your shoulders away from your ears, and take 3 slow, deep breaths. Inhale through your nose, hold it for 2 seconds, and exhale slowly through your mouth.
Even just doing that right now made me feel more relaxed.
It signals directly to your nervous system that you are safe. You aren't being chased by a lion. You're just about to have a conversation about your career.
No lions in the conference room. Usually just a polite HR manager with a notepad.
Exactly. And when you walk into that room, posture matters so much. Pull your head up, keep your head level, make warm eye contact, and give a firm, friendly greeting.
That body language actually helps your brain feel more confident too. It works in both directions. Your mind affects your body, but your posture can trick your mind into feeling composed.
It really can. And here's another quick tip for English learners when you first sit down. Don't rush into speaking the very millisecond they finish asking a question.
Oh yes, that's a huge trap, isn't it? People think silence in an interview means you don't know the answer.
But in reality, taking a tiny pause shows composure. It shows you're a thoughtful communicator.
Right. It is completely natural to pause for 2 seconds, smile, and say something like, "That's a great question. Let me think about that for a moment."
That sentence alone buys you 3 whole seconds to gather your thoughts, frame your answer using your present, past, and future structure, and choose your words without gasping for air.
Plus, saying, "That's a great question," makes you sound incredibly fluent and relaxed right off the bat.
It's the ultimate professional secret weapon. It sounds professional, gives you thinking time, and settles your nerves.
You know, Leo, another thing that helps immensely with confidence is preparing 2 or 3 real-life stories from your past experience before the interview even starts.
Tell us about story banking. That's a classic technique.
Yes, instead of trying to memorize exact answers to 50 potential questions, you just prepare 3 good stories that showcase your skills.
Like one story about a time you solved a tough problem, one story about a major milestone or achievement, and one story about working well with a team.
Exactly, because those 3 core stories can usually be adapted to answer almost any behavioral interview question they throw at you.
Whether they ask, "What is your biggest strength?" or "Tell me about a challenge you faced," you can pull from that same bank of real experiences where your expertise really shined.
And because it's a real story from your actual life, you won't forget it. You aren't trying to recite a memorized essay in a second language. You're just retelling something you actually lived through.
That takes away so much of the memory pressure. You don't have to worry about forgetting script lines because it isn't a script, it's your genuine background.
Right. And when you speak from genuine experience, your passion and authenticity naturally come through in your voice. Interviewers connect with that human element far more than a robotic, perfectly polished answer.
That human connection is really what gets people hired. Technical skills are listed on your resume, but the interview is where they check if you're someone who is communicative, adaptable, and nice to work with every day.
Which brings us right back to our original point. It's just a conversation between human beings.
2 people sitting in a room seeing if their goals align. Nothing more, nothing less.
So, if we summarize our big action steps for our listeners today, what are the core takeaways to remember before your next big interview or professional chat?
Number 1, shift your mindset. That broad question, "Tell me about yourself," isn't your life history, it's an opportunity to share why you're a great fit.
Number 2, use the present, past, and future formula to keep your elevator pitch concise and structured.
Number 3, don't be afraid to highlight your key assets, expertise, and milestones with pride.
Number 4, use simple physical grounding and deep breaths in the waiting area to stay relaxed.
And number 5, pause before answering, use filler phrases like "That's a great question," and lean on real stories from your background.
A perfect blueprint. Honestly, if you follow those 5 steps, your confidence level will jump through the roof. And remember, even if an interview doesn't lead to a job offer, it is never a wasted experience. Every single interview is just free practice for the next one.
Absolutely. Think of every interview as a stepping stone. You learned what worked, you adjust what didn't, and your communication skills get sharper every single time.
Growth is a gradual process, especially in a second language. Be patient with yourself, celebrate the small wins, and keep putting yourself out there.
Speaking of putting yourself out there, Anna, do you feel ready to handle that hypothetical 1:30 a.m. interview now?
Oh, 100%. If someone woke me up right now and asked me for my elevator pitch, I'd give them a masterclass in present, past, and future.
That's what I like to hear. Confidence restored.
Restored and ready. And for everyone tuning in today, we want to remind you that your English journey is unique to you. Don't compare your Chapter 1 to someone else's Chapter 20.
Just keep showing up, keep listening to real conversations, and give yourself credit for every bit of effort you invest in your growth.
So, as we keep rolling through our chat today, let me throw another common interview question at you, Leo. How do you handle it when an interviewer asks, "What is your biggest weakness?"
Oh boy, the second most dreaded question in interview history.
Right? That one trips up almost everyone because people don't know whether to be 100% honest or give one of those fake answers like, "I'm too much of a perfectionist," or "I care too much."
Oh man, please nobody ever use "I'm too much of a perfectionist" or "I care too much." Interviewers hear that 50 times a week and it immediately sounds insincere.
Exactly. It sounds like a trick answer. So, how do we approach the weakness question with genuine confidence and honesty without hurting our chances?
The key here is showing self-awareness and growth. The interviewer doesn't expect you to be a flawless superhero. They want to see if you can recognize areas where you can improve and if you actively take steps to work on them.
So it's not just about naming the weakness, it's about showing your process for managing it.
Spot on. A great formula for this question is real weakness plus actionable solution.
Give us an example of how that sounds in practice, Leo.
Sure. You could say something like, "In the past, I sometimes struggled with delegating tasks because I wanted to make sure everything was done perfectly, but I realized that was holding my team back. So over the last year, I've started using project management tools to assign clear responsibilities, and it has really helped me trust my team and improve our overall efficiency."
Wow, Leo, that was brilliant. You clearly acknowledged a real challenge, but you immediately turned it into a story of self-improvement and practical growth.
Exactly. You show that you're self-aware, you're proactive, and you're always looking for ways to develop your skill set.
That is such a mature way to answer. It turns a potentially negative question into another strong demonstration of your professional asset mindset.
Right, because every professional has areas they're working on. Admitting that with calm honesty actually builds trust with the interviewer.
It really does. It shows integrity and a willingness to learn, which are two of the most valuable traits any employer looks for in a teammate.
So whether you're talking about your greatest strengths or your areas for growth, the core theme stays the same: clear communication, real examples, and quiet self-trust.
Exactly. And those same principles apply to every English conversation you have, whether it's in a formal boardroom, a university classroom, or just chatting with new colleagues over coffee.
Language is ultimately a bridge to connect with other people. When you focus on connecting rather than being flawless, the fear starts to melt away.
Beautifully said, Leo. And speaking of connecting, let's keep expanding on how we can practice these conversational tools in everyday life.
I love that direction, Anna, because let's be honest, you shouldn't wait for the high-stakes moment of an actual job interview to start practicing these techniques.
Exactly. If the first time you try using your elevator pitch is when you're sitting across from a hiring manager, it's going to feel awkward and forced. You need low-pressure environments to build that muscle memory first.
Right. It's like an athlete training before the big game. You wouldn't step onto the field for the championship without doing practice drills every day.
Definitely not. So, what are some safe, low-stress ways our listeners can practice talking about their background and assets in daily life?
The easiest way to start is right in front of your bathroom mirror or using the voice recorder app on your smartphone.
Ooh, recording yourself. I know a lot of English learners cringe at the thought of hearing their own voice, but why is that so effective?
It completely changes your perspective. When you speak out loud to yourself or record a 30-second clip, you move the English out of your head and into the real world. You get to hear your natural pace, catch where you pause, and realize, hey, that actually sounded pretty good.
That self-feedback is massive. And you don't need to record a full 10-minute speech. Just practice saying 1 or 2 sentences about your expertise or a recent milestone until it feels smooth in your mouth.
Exactly. And once you feel comfortable speaking to yourself, step 2 is bringing it into casual, real-world interactions, like at networking events, industry meetups, or even social gatherings with colleagues.
Yes, whenever someone asks you the classic party question, "So, what do you do?" that's your golden opportunity.
Right. Instead of just giving a boring one-word title like "I'm an accountant" or "I work in IT," you can drop a tiny, relaxed version of your elevator pitch.
Oh, like saying, "I work in software design, mainly focusing on making apps easier for beginners to use. Lately, my biggest focus has been improving customer feedback systems."
Boom! Look how engaging that is. You stated your background, highlighted your expertise, and dropped a current milestone, all in 10 seconds, completely casually.
And it opens the conversation naturally. The other person can actually reply to that with real interest instead of just saying, "Oh, cool," and awkward silence setting in.
Exactly. It creates a smooth bridge for connection. And the best part? Every time you use that simple structure in casual life, your brain registers, hey, talking about my work in English is totally safe and natural.
So by the time you actually walk into a formal job interview, your brain doesn't view it as a scary threat anymore. It just feels like another chance to share what you're good at.
Precisely. You've desensitized yourself to the anxiety. You've normalized speaking about your professional value.
That is such a genius strategy. What about another common interview scenario that gives people huge anxiety? Answering situational questions. You know, when they ask, "Can you give me an example of a time you handled a difficult client or a tight deadline?"
Oh, behavioral questions. The ones that usually start with, tell me about a time when...
Yes, those. Those always make people panic because you have to recall a specific story under pressure.
Right, but there is a famous framework that makes answering those questions absolute smooth sailing. Have you ever heard of the STAR method, Anna?
The STAR method. Yes, STAR. Situation, task, action, result.
You got it. It's basically a cheat code for telling concise, impactful professional stories without getting lost in unnecessary details.
Let's break that down for everyone listening. Situation, set the scene with a quick context. Where were you and what was happening? Task, explain the challenge or goal you needed to address. Action, detailed the specific steps you took to solve it, highlighting your expertise. Result, share the positive outcome or what you learned from the experience.
The key step there that most people forget is the action part. Often people spend 80% of their time describing the problem and only 20% describing what they actually did.
That is so true. The interviewer wants to hear about your actions and choices, not just a 10-minute background story about how chaotic the office was that day.
Exactly. You are the main character of your STAR story. Focus on your choices, your problem-solving skills, and the positive impact you created.
Can you do a quick mini role play right now so our listeners can hear what a STAR answer sounds like in natural English?
I love a good role play. Go ahead, Anna. Ask me a behavioral question.
Ahem. So, Leo, can you tell me about a time you had to deal with a sudden change in project plans?
Sure. In my previous role as a project coordinator, our client suddenly changed the product release date, giving us 2 weeks instead of a month. Task: I immediately reorganized our team schedule, prioritized our core deliverables, and set up daily 10-minute check-ins to make sure everyone stayed aligned. Action: as a result, we launched on time with 0 bugs, and the client ended up renewing their contract with us for another year. Result:
Wow, that took less than 45 seconds, but it hit every single point perfectly. You clearly showed leadership, adaptability, and high performance.
see how clean that is? No rambling, no lost thoughts, and it clearly proves your asset value to the company.
And notice how Leo used clean, simple past tense verbs: reorganized, prioritized, set up, launched, renewed, clear grammar, strong action verbs, and a positive result.
That's the beauty of it. When you have the STAR structure in your head, you don't need fancy, obscure vocabulary. Simple, strong, active verbs do all the work for you.
Man, this whole episode is turning into a complete toolkit for career confidence. We've covered elevator pitches, present, past, future, addressing weaknesses, and now the STAR method.
And the common thread behind every single one of these tools is simple. Preparation builds calm. Confidence isn't something you're born with, it's something you construct through small, intentional practice steps.
That's such a reassuring thought, especially if you currently feel like you're an anxious speaker. You aren't stuck that way. You can literally build your confidence one simple practice session at a time.
Every time you practice a phrase, every time you listen to a podcast like this and repeat a new word out loud, you're strengthening your voice.
That gives me chills, Leo, because it's so true. Language isn't just about passing tests or sounding clever. It's literally about giving yourself a voice in rooms where you deserve to be heard.
Exactly. Think about how many brilliant ideas get lost simply because someone felt too shy or too anxious to speak up in their non-native language.
Oh, it breaks my heart. I've seen so many talented people sit quietly in business meetings, holding back incredible solutions just because they were worried about making a small grammar mistake.
Right, but the reality check is native speakers make grammar mistakes all the time. We trip over words, we pause, we lose our train of thought. Perfect English doesn't exist, but confident communication definitely does.
Absolutely. An interviewer or a team leader isn't listening to you with a red pen in hand, ready to mark off points for a missing preposition. They're listening for your ideas, your energy, and your perspective.
That perspective is your biggest asset. Nobody else has your exact background, your specific combination of experiences, or your unique way of looking at a problem.
So when you step into that interview room or raise your hand in a team meeting, you're not just bringing your English vocabulary, you're bringing your whole self.
Well said. And to wrap all of this up, let's leave our listeners with one final practical challenge for this week.
Ooh, I love a good weekly challenge. What do you have in mind, Leo?
I want everyone listening to take out their phone right after this episode, open their voice recorder, and record a 30-second elevator pitch using our present, past, and future formula.
Oh, that is such a great exercise. Just 30 seconds. Mention your current focus, one past milestone or skill from your background, and where you want to go next.
Don't worry about making it perfect on the first try. Don't worry if you hesitate or have to restart. Just record it, listen back to it with kindness, and notice how much stronger your voice sounds when you give yourself permission to speak.
That self-kindness is everything. Celebrate the fact that you took 30 seconds out of your day to invest in your own confidence and growth.
Exactly. Every step counts, no matter how small it feels in the moment.
Well, Leo, I think my 1:30 a.m. interview anxiety has officially been cured by today's chat.
Mine too, Anna. I feel ready to ace an interview for a job I'm not even applying for.
Same here. And to everyone listening around the world, thank you so much for spending this time with us today.
Thank you for your time, your dedication, and your energy. You're doing amazing work, and we are so proud of the effort you put into your English every single day.
Keep practicing, keep trusting your voice, and remember to treat yourself with patience and respect along the way.
Until next time, take care of your English and take care of your heart.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.